nothing unusual. I've been pondering my imminent death. I mean, we're all gonna die someday. Saying it's imminent does not imply necessarily that it's gonna be tomorrow or whatever, but you know, soon is relative. Anyway, we're all gonna die soon. Cheerful content that you came here for. I thought it would be interesting to see, does the government have any kind of plan in case there's ever a zombie attack? Because I do. Not where I am currently. I actually left my bag back in Ireland.
She's going to die, John.
Anyway, I was wondering if, not untopically, the government has any kind of plan in place for if there is a zombie outbreak. It seemed impossible maybe a couple of years ago, but as time goes by in 2020 and 21, things are getting real. An extensive Google search of Ireland tells me that we have absolutely no plan in place. I mean, we're such a tiny country, all we can do is hope for the best, cross our fingers, and hope that it doesn't make its way onto our tiny country. But America obviously has a plan. You guys have a plan for everything, and as it turns out, this is not just an idea of a plan, you have an actual plan, and today I'm going to check that out. Before I get into the video, I usually threaten people to subscribe or like the video, but somebody suggested to me that maybe you guys would prefer less of a threat, more of a bribery. So if you could like and subscribe to the video and channel, it would be great. Good things will happen to you in the next 24 hours. Good things. USA military actually has a zombie plan, and this is it. Conplan 8888.
You wake up one day and groggily rub the sleep out of your eyes. After a few moments, you're alert enough to reach for your phone. Time to catch up on all the messages and Instagram likes and Facebook posts you missed during your sleep. Except your phone's not working. You have no service, and that should be impossible because you recently ditched T-Mobile. Shrugging, you reach for your...
Okay, right there, that is terrifying. That is terrifying in and of itself. The fact, I'm going to put it out there, I have an addiction to my phone. I'm addicted to my phone. My family have noticed it. My friends have noticed it. It's a major problem in my life. Actually, do you know what? It's not a problem. I don't find it to be a problem. I'm okay with it. Other people tell me it's a problem.
You check your laptop's connectivity and sure enough, no service again. Weird, you think to yourself as you throw on some pants and check on your desktop, which also has no internet connection. Now, edging to a full-blown first world panic, you head downstairs to make sure mom paid the internet bill. You find her there in the kitchen aimlessly mixing something. You can't quite tell what it is because she has her back turned to you, but you think you hear her slightly groaning. Hesitantly, you call out to your mother, whose body suddenly jerks as she turns around slowly, moving very, very stiffly. As she turns to face you, you're horrified to see her dead eyes staring at you, and with a growl of brains, she leaps for you. You make a run for it, rushing outside and fleeing for your life. But the neighbor spots you and take off running after you too. In seconds, you're being chased by a mob of zombified relatives and neighbors, and they're almost upon you when you turn the corner and suddenly hear, "Get down!" Instinctively, you duck down, and in front of you, a military patrol in Humvees opens up 50 caliber machine guns, chewing the zombies to pieces. Overhead, you hear the roar of jets as 500-pound bombs are being dropped all over your former suburban neighborhood. Welcome to the zombie apocalypse. The United States military regularly creates think tanks whose jobs are to envision future conflict or disaster scenarios, and then draw up military and civil responses to address these threats. Throughout the years, American war planners have created plans for everything, from nuclear war with the Soviet Union to an enemy invasion of the U.S. mainland to responding to a massive asteroid or comet strike on planet Earth. Incredibly, the U.S. military also has several contingency plans to combat an alien invasion, and that's no joke. These plans are highly secretive, as are the other contingency plans, and present military options to combat a variety of different alien invasion scenarios, at least to the best as our limited technology allows. Yet one of these contingency plans is unclassified and has been public knowledge for years. That's Contingency Plan 8888. Originally, Conplan 8888 was developed as a teaching tool for American military planners. It was meant to be a fun exercise that introduced new war planners to the complexities of developing realistic response plans to a variety of contingencies. Because of the threat of war plans being made public, the instructors behind the original Conplan 8888 exercises wanted to use a completely fictional scenario rather than using realistic scenarios with real nations that could be misconstrued in the public eye as an actual war plan. Because the US military actually has realistic contingency plans to counter an alien invasion, it was decided that zombies presented the best option for developing a practice war plan to allow students to learn the ins and outs of military planning. If zombies ever did kick off an apocalypse, Conplan 8888 would be there to save the US from extinction. So what does Conplan 8888 involve? First, the plan addresses the threats from a variety of different types of zombies. First is the PZ, or pathogenic zombies. These are zombies who are created after a host is infected by a virus, bacteria, or other form of contagion.
Familiar.
Next are RZs, or radiation zombies. These are zombies created by extreme exposure to electromagnetic and or particle radiation. EMZs are evil magic zombies, or zombies created by an evil occult force. SZs, or space zombies, are zombie life forms that originate from outer space, or created by the toxic contamination of the Earth's environment by an extraterrestrial source. WZs, or weaponized zombies, are zombies that have been developed in a lab somewhere
I never even thought about weaponized zombies.
Perhaps deployed by a foreign adversary. SIZs are symbiont-induced zombies, or zombies who are created by the introduction of a symbiont life form into a healthy host. The symbiont keeps the host alive, but acting as its personal puppet. VZs, or vegetarian zombies, are zombies who do not feed on flesh, human or otherwise, but rather who feed on plant life, such as zombies from the Plants vs. Zombies series of video games. These zombies pose just as great a threat to humanity due to their appetite for vegetation, which can cause massive deforestation and the destruction of food crops. Lastly, the plan addressed the threat posed by CZs, or chicken zombies, which are the only type of zombie that actually exist. These zombies are produced when chickens are improperly euthanized with carbon monoxide and left in a pile of bodies, only for the still living chicken to crawl its way out of the pile and walk around until organ failure kills it. From here, the plan moves on to 5 phases of a response to a zombie outbreak. Upon news of the dead rising from their graves, or evil wizards creating zombie hordes, the U.S. military will initiate Phase 0 of Conplan 8888. The phase is also called Shape the Environment, and will focus on giving U.S. warfighters as great warning time and strategic advantage against the zombie hordes as possible. Military and civil agencies will monitor disease vectors for possible zombification, identifying any ways that infection can spread, and taking precautionary measures. With constant monitoring, the U.S. military will be ready once the outbreak reaches critical levels, or is unleashed in full inside North America. All military forces will engage in renewed hazmat training, as well as nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare training, already a routine part of U.S. military training. Phase 1, deterrence, will begin upon receipt of a warrant order, or a warning order by U.S. Strategic Command. In a normal war plan, this phase of planning involves displays of military power, so that foreign adversaries are deterred from hostile action. Because zombies cannot be reasoned with or intimidated, however, other forces which could further spread a zombie plague or aid in a zombie apocalypse, such as terrorist groups, adversary nations, and unethical bioresearch companies, are targeted instead. Phase 1 will see the U.S. military initiate large-scale training meant to show any would-be human collaborators that the U.S. military can still operate within a toxic and contaminated environment, hopefully deterring evil bioresearch companies or terrorists from aiding the zombie apocalypse. Phase 2, Seize the Initiative, will begin upon receipt of an alert order by U.S. Strategic Command. This will immediately initiate a complete recall of all military and reserve personnel, and the immediate implementation of all continuity of operations plans, or co-op plans as they're known, are meant to ensure that no matter what happens, all of the major military commands are able to continue functioning, as well as the civilian government. The plan will deploy all ground, naval, and airborne command and control nodes, with preparations to remain deployed for at minimum 35 days. This will ensure that the U.S. military remains in control of its forces no matter what happens next. U.S. Strategic Command will reach out to potential adversary nations, such as Russia and China, and inform them of preparation for counter-zombie operations, conducting confidence-building measures to ensure these nations don't believe the mobilization is using the zombie threat as a cover for military action against their own countries. The U.S. Air Force's Global Strike Command, in conjunction with assets from other services, will immediately generate forces for strike missions against zombie horde concentrations, not just here in the U.S., but abroad. The rest of the U.S. military will immediately begin fortifying civilian defense zones and enforcing quarantines where applicable. Phase 3, Dominance, will initiate a massive American military response against the zombie threat. Combat operations must be swift and completely eradicate zombie concentrations, as even a lone survivor can reignite a zombie outbreak. Cities and other major population centers may need to be indefinitely blockaded by military forces while the civilians are relocated to more remote areas.
Save the civilians.
Phase 4, Stabilization. will begin no
guess it
earlier than
depends,
at least
like,
40
how
days
the
after the initiation of
zombie
Phase 3 operations.
spreads.
U.S. military forces will begin
Zombiness.
initiating
Is that a
local
word?
reconnaissance operations in order to determine the strength of surviving zombie forces. We'll see U.S. military forces aid in the reestablishment of civil authority. Commercial and civilian infrastructure
Okay,
will be
so
repaired
like in
as
The
best
Walking
as
Dead,
possible, and the
you've gotta, like,
restoration of
build
functioning
a
civil
village.
services will be a top priority. Conplan 8888 aims to prepare the
Also,
U.S.
lots of
military to
force.
stop the
I don't
zombie
see enough
apocalypse
people
dead in
talking
its
about
tracks,
force.
and highlights the
We need to
specific
build
actions that
many,
local
many
forces need to
moats
take
around
in order to
ourselves.
ensure their survival and the continued
Are moats and
ability to
forts the
fight
same?
back against the zombie hordes. The plan does highlight some current strategic limitations, however, such as a lack of dedicated counter-zombie military task force. There's also the difficulty in ensuring a zombie is truly neutralized, though the plan does recommend that military forces burn all the bodies thoroughly. Other strategic limitations
Okay.
include the inability to maintain airborne command posts in the air past a week. This is because while in-flight refueling could keep airborne
I mean,
command
that's
posts
already a
operational
thing.
for a
It's
month,
really
or
difficult
perhaps
to
even
fly
more
right
if needed,
now,
the
you
airfields
know?
that support the tankers, which would fuel these aircraft, would likely be overrun by zombies very quickly. And war planners may need to turn to popular media for inspiration on destroying The Walking Dead.
Ooh.
There's also a
The Walking
dire
Dead!
warning within Conplan 8888
Oh my god,
that
then
of
appears
all
that
the
is like an
different
actual
types of
thing.
zombies that the
Oh,
U.S.
like all the
military
good
may
people
have to
died
face,
in it.
evil magic zombies
best
may prove to be the
characters.
most
I don't watch
difficult
it
to defeat,
anymore,
as they're
since
animated by
Weirdo
evil
died.
magic. The plan suggests the recruitment of the Chaplain Corps to combat this.
Oh, we're all doomed. Oh no. We're leaving it to the priests. Oh. Well, after watching that, I have to say my faith in the rescue plan is shaky. I can't help but feeling we're all screwed. Over to Dewey for a couple of shoutouts.
What's wrong? I'm sad because the whole world's going to be overrun by zombies. I hope not anytime soon, Chewie. I think it'll all be okay. Okay. Do you want me to do the shoutouts today? Yes, please. Okay, I'm going to do the shoutouts today. So, the first shout out that we have is the wonderful Brian Ediger, and he would like to shout out farmers, ranchers and truckers for keeping our food supply lines running. Without them, there would be a lot more hungry people around. That is so true and such a good point, Brian. This year and last year have been just crazy, and they've just done an amazing job of keeping us all fed and supplied, so thank you to them. And Kim Sparks has a lovely shout out for all the other patrons. She says she'd like to shout out the other patrons of the channel by supporting Diane to further her path to success and help her keep producing fun content. The online chats between Patreons are always fun and sometimes downright goofy. Thanks everyone. If you're not a Patreon, why not give it a try? More people make for more lively discussions in a respectful way, of course. Thanks, Kim. And yeah, I'm not great at self-promoting. Back to me in the video.
Let me know what the first thing you would do would be if there was a zombie outbreak. I'm curious to hear. That's it for today's video. See you on the other side. Bye. So today, okay, that's not going to work because my chair is spinning. You couldn't have placed yourself in a better position to be... No! I gotta push back. Woo! 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 We're all doomed if the actual zombies come, and that's our level of intellect.